The Brew Crew, oh yeah, the Brew Crew, right here. You got a thought you can't shake, a question you want to break. We got the vibe, we got the heat. Join the Brew Crew, take a seat. It's the Brew Crew, question of the week. Say it loud, let it be. The Brew Crew, oh yeah, the Brew Crew.
What's up, Brew Crew? How is the IBEW going to continue to stay strong as we get busier and busier? I know for me, I'm working 610s right now. I have family and friends. I try to stay involved with my committees in my local union. How do I maintain that work-life balance being a trade unionist? That's my question.
That's an awesome question.
It's a great question.
It's a question that's as old as time.
It's true story. And as time goes on, you get better at that question.
Yeah. She kind of two-parted us. I want to take a swing at the first part. How is our union going to stay strong? I think we've maybe even discussed this in past episodes, but I think it's, up to us, and kind of part of what the IBEW and union is imparting your knowledge onto these new people, making sure you bring them up along with you. I see that as the first way to keep it strong, keep everybody knowing what their job is and proficient at what they're doing. And then as far as the balance, I think that's a daily struggle for everybody. How do you keep a balance? Like I just got done saying I haven't had a day off yet, so I do need to book something for myself shortly so that I can attempt to have that balance as well. That's where I'm at with her question.
Yeah, so when I had sent the question to you guys before, and Skinner goes, "Well, that's a freaking hard question." And I go, "Hey man, we're here for the hard shit, not the easy shit and the real shit." And usually a local union averages 1% of active membership, right? So if you look at your union membership and you look at your union meetings, you're usually averaging 1%, right? And that's like when things are just status quo. And we are supposed to really pick up in the IBEW. And I kind of, worry, because I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, like, how do we stay strong if people aren't at the union meetings and they're out on the job sites, right? And how, like, just like if we're busy, doing this part of the market share, right? Like there's a part of the market that we're neglecting, right? And so that allows like our non-union counterparts to kind of seep in, right? And I kind of like equate that to like, trade unionism, and how do we get a balance between, keeping what we have, right? Because construction's cyclical, right? It goes up and it goes down. So if we don't get those members now, right, and we just bring them in and we go, hey, you know what, go stand in the corner, or hey, go stand over there and go make some money, right? They will be, their allegiance will be to the contractors, right? Because that's who's, they'll see it as that's who's buttering their bread, right? Because they're not around to see like what collective bargaining is all about, right? And how the union, sat down with these contractors to get what they're getting. So I think, we need to do better. And I always say this in internal organizing, right? Because if we just keep bringing people in and we don't internal organize, if we don't say to our members, hey, you know what, I value you and I need you at the union meetings, and this is why I need you to be part of the union. I do think that, we're gonna, suffer down the road, right? When this boom, kind of subsides, right? We're gonna have a whole bunch of people blaming the unions now for the downfall. So I think, we have to protect our, trade unionist ideology just as much as our market share. So throw on top of it that, we're women and we have elder care and child care and we do 80% of the unpaid work, that just kind of increases it. But what I've learned through my 26 years in the union is that anytime you need to get something done, you ask a woman to do it and it gets done. Right? Like, I remember, we organized a bus ride, to DC, and that bus was filled up literally in 15 minutes.
By you?
60, not by me, by the women, in our local, right? In 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
So, women show up and, we manage to get a lot of things done. So if I was giving advice to a local union, I would say, hey, get your women involved, right? And the importance of women's committees. So that, I do worry about that. That is a concern of mine. What do you say, Shannon?
I think also in the past, right, and the union actually kept too much close to the vest. I think that we need to train our members on bargaining. I think we need to, even something like this, because it's hard to get our members to a meeting because they're fat and sassy, right? We've negotiated good contracts. They've got good work. They're making a lot of money. And it's just like, well, why do I need to go to the union, right? The union meetings. So I think that we need to educate them on the history. My uncles and I were talking about that today. They're 55-year members of the IBEW. And we were talking about that today, is like they are hardcore, still to this day, 87 years old, all about the union and where it came from. And the question is how do we do that? And I think this right here, this podcast, is a good start, right? We can start talking about different things like that, or a podcast on union history. We don't have to do it, but find a podcast on union history and send these links out to our members so they start thinking about how they make that money, how they get their teeth fixed, vision, medical, right? They don't have to worry about anything because that 1% does it. That's most of us, for sure. And to organizing, I think we actually, we went on an organizing campaign, and politically, sometimes if we just hire, and we don't teach the people about bargaining and the union, they go totally the other way than what the union is built on. And that, for me, is a problem. That's that part of the question.
Yeah, it's funny that you should say that, or not so funny, but back when unions were at their strongest, like unions were very together as far as political ideology, and now like we're so divided politically, and that's an issue. Because if we keep organizing people who oppose us politically, they're kind of like,
we're not united.
we're not united, and we're kind of organizing people who are like harming us.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot, right? Eventually it
yeah, I mean,
comes to a head, right?
yeah, I mean, if you have 53% of your membership who are voting, to get rid of the infrastructure bill indirectly, right? Because they voted for somebody who got rid of the infrastructure bill, right? Like that's, to me, causing economic harm, which is in our Constitution, right? Like we're not supposed to cause economic harm to one another, right?
And that's back, that circles back to that education.
Yeah, and we definitely need to educate, better, right? But I also feel like we don't invest financially in internal organizing. Like we just assume that it's organically going to happen, right? And that's not necessarily the case. Like you have to invest in that internal organizing, gone are the days of, hey, I'm going to show up because it's the right thing to do for the union, like you got shitbirds in the shanty telling them like, oh, you don't have to show up. Somebody else is going to show up. You don't have to go to that apprentice meeting, like you don't have to go to the union meeting. And, you got people who are, just opposed to,
Yeah, and it's adding so much extra weight on that extra, that active 1%, right? The work that we're expecting them to do to take all that information back and then educate, right?
Yeah, I mean, keeping in mind that, that 1% is still working 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
doing
At
30
least.
hours of overtime, right? Has elder care or child care or, whatever else it is, so it's a stress and, people get burnt out, so I just think, what, sometimes you have to pay people to do internal organizing, and internal labor education, the contractors pay a lot for our apprentices to get educated in electrical work, but I find that there's not enough financial investment into labor education.
Mm-hmm.
I
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, like our apprentices have to get an associate's degree in labor education, but we're one local out of the whole IBEW. So I and we also organize other people, right? We organize shops and stuff. Who educates them?
Right.
You
You get them, like you said, you get them, and then they're there. Like, now what?
yeah.
Right?
What is a union? I came in, I was first generation. I didn't know what the hell a union was. I knew if I mentioned the word union at my other shop, at my other job, my first job, it got me a meeting with the executive director telling me how bad unions were. It wasn't a pleasant experience. So I never brought up the word again, but so
I know
yeah.
something you shared with me a while ago, Erin, was your app with the labor history. I don't know if you can somehow link that, but that is a great app. You put some awesome work into it, and I've learned a lot just from that.
It's a good drinking game too, because if you get it wrong, you can drink, right?
Yeah, that's when I've learned the most. Yeah.
At the bar, right?
Right, exactly.
So I am a labor educator. So our apprentices, they don't want to carry books. They always have their phone. They're always looking at their phone. So I was like, why can't we teach them labor history in the palm of their hands and just make an app? So I did make an app for it, and you could take a test. Are you smarter than a first year apprentice? and there's like over 300 questions. So I will put a link down
Yeah,
in the
it's great.
description.
It is a great app.
Yeah.
You,
It's a great app.
you're such a professional, Erin. Little Jill of all trades, making apps, creating our brew crew, cutting boards. That a girl.
No, you know what it is? It's like untreated ADD.
I suffer from the same thing, but just different things. Yeah, 100% ADD.
Yeah, I have ADD and I get hyper focused on something, or something will pop in my head and be like, we got to do it. Right?
And then my personality, I won't stop until it's done. I don't care what time it is.
Yeah.
Just like
you get
just
hyper
like that.
focused.
Yeah, I'm just like this has got to get done right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. I had to like ask the doctor for medication. I was like, I just wake up at 3 o'clock with these ideas and I got to stop because I have to work. You know, let's do a mentoring program. Let's build an app. Let's build cutting boards. I don't even know where the hell that idea came from. But I got another thing up my sleeve, so stay tuned for that.
That's what we need to do one of these times is write a list of all of our hobbies and send it to one another because
Yeah.
it's hilarious, to tell you the
It
truth.
is. And I think it's just probably just ADD, untreated ADD. It's like,
Yeah.
on to the next thing.
Yeah, but we didn't even know what ADD was and we were still doing that. So,
I think it's part of my
Yeah.
charm at this point. I mean,
mhm.
like they just go, Erin, she's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is what it is.
One of Melanie's friends at the wedding, right? He's like, I want to live your life. What don't you do? Hang from helicopters, perform weddings, go hunting. And I said, well, I don't know yet. I haven't built a skyscraper.
You could come travel to New York. We're supposed to get busy. And then you can just check that off your list.
There you go.
Can a lineman travel as a journey person, I wonder?
Yes, of course we can travel and we can work below our. I mean, we can clear out as a wireman.
So
I've
you could do
taken,
inside wireman?
yeah, at certain locals you can, yeah. So like, as a young journeyman, when I was just taking different calls across the country, I took a wireman short call. There was nobody on the bench, and they needed some help, and asked me if I would. I said, yeah, absolutely. It was a short call, so a week, 7 days. Yeah.
I had one guy who he worked roadway for like 26 years, and he was a journeyman, an inside journeyman, but he, was just working in this section of the industry for so long. So the last time he was here, it was a lot of, material has changed, So he comes up to me with this box and he goes like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this.
Right.
And I'm looking at him like, dude, like, you got to be in more than like a month. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you? And he's like, yeah, he goes, I've been in road work and I was like, oh, all right. Then I was like, showed him how to do it. But I was like, this guy doesn't know what a freaking gem box is.
Yeah, but see, that's us. We're supposed to teach everybody. Share your knowledge, like Stacy says. Good job. Not everybody knows everything.
No, but gem box is fundamental.
Yeah.
But not if you're in road work, it's like me asking you to, asking you for Greenfield. You'd be like, what the hell is Greenfield? A field of green?
Not Stacy's type of field of green.
No. Stacey, what are you going to do to pamper yourself?
Well, I am going to the Raiders Cowboys game tomorrow night here in Las Vegas. So I don't know if I can consider that pampering myself because I'm probably gonna partake in a few drinks, and so that is on my list of things to do. I have a game tomorrow night, but I'm gonna do my typical. I'm gonna try and get a massage in. And hopefully a day off this week. It's not scheduled, not looking great right now, but hoping for a day off.
You
Now,
know
why-
what? Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, why are things so busy on your end?
Just it's end of year. People are using up, their time off. We got to cover shifts for, we have to keep people staffed. So I've been trying to just do my part and let everybody have their PTO. So that's why I've been working.
You
I'll
good
tell
boss.
I'll tell you that the truth on that one is she's a good person, right? She doesn't have a family at home. So the people that have wives and children and want to spend the holidays with them, Stacy usually steps it up and
Yeah,
does her
I'll
time.
work for them on their holidays and stuff like that. So,
She won't tell that about herself, but I will.
well, it also gets me out of doing it myself, having to cook a Thanksgiving dinner. Like, nope, gotta work. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, should I tell her? We need to finish the second half of Kim's question, but should I tell everybody about Thanksgiving dinner at your house?
Sure.
It was the best. So we go to Stacy's for Thanksgiving. She likes to throw a good party, right? She's got a turkey on the smoker, a ham. She's got everything, Brussels sprouts. Everything's getting cooked, right? Then a friend comes over with a bottle of tequila.
Uh-oh.
So I take the apron over, and she's always,
I got a little derailed. We'll just say that.
I take over the apron, and I'm looking for stuff in her kitchen. And she's always like, "Yeah, I've got Cutco knives. I've got this." There wasn't a flipping knife in that freaking kitchen that was sharp. And so now when I go to Stacy's house, I take my knife bag, I take my apron, my gloves.
Thanks to Shannon, we got dinner on the table that day. I was there
It was
right
awesome.
to the 11th hour. I was like, I've managed this, and then I couldn't finish it off, but thankfully I had Shannon invited, and she had my back on that one.
Would you do like a 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor?
I just, I was like, after 4 tequilas, I was like, do we really need to eat dinner? I'm good.
Sister's got a sister's back. We had a blast. It was a great party.
That's the Stacy we love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we didn't finish Kim's second part of her question.
Oh, the how to keep a balance with everything.
I think I've learned to kind of schedule things out. First and foremost, your friends and your family have to know who you are and what you do and respect that. And I think we all surround ourselves with those people. And then, two, I think that we need to make a schedule, right, for our family and friends. Put them on the calendar and don't try not to deviate from that. Sometimes it happens. I've not been home for holidays and Thanksgivings and Christmases and all of that. But I think if we do our best to schedule friend and family time, and then also don't answer the phone set a certain time at night, right? All of us union folks, don't answer the phone after 8 p.m. You need your rest and relaxation also, and just set those boundaries out there. Say, this is my time of the evening. That doesn't always work, but you can try and set those boundaries. And that's what I think it is. And then also, when you start getting exhausted, because we all do, we work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day sometimes. I know Stacy and I do in Vegas. When you're feeling exhausted, take that time for the massage or the sauna or just breakfast with the girls,
I know one thing too. I do so much better if I have like a vacation on the books, and I'm known to vacation quite whenever I can. But just even if it's months out, having that at the end of in sight that there's something coming that I get to enjoy, it changes my attitude. So putting something on the books, even if it's just a quick little weekend over in California or something, that always changes my attitude about, like, I can do this. I got this coming, right?
Self-care management, right? That's what that is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I was just saying the other day that COVID kind
That's a
of,
5-letter word.
but you know, there, like, as horrible as it was, it kind of really put things in perspective for me, like as far as family.
Yeah.
And when I went and visited my grandkids and I had to look through a window at them, right? That was like the moment that it struck me that, like, I missed a lot of time of my kids growing up, but I didn't want to miss my grandkids. And so, like, the last 3 weeks we've been very intentional of going up to the Christmas tree house with each grandkid, right? So they go up for the weekend and me, Ma, and Nana get to spend time with them and, you know, just really kind of, you know, fill them up with love, and it kind of fills up our cups. Well, it fills up my cup, because there's never been a better gig to me than, you know, the title of Nana, you know. So, you know, just kind of putting the grandkids in the mix and filling my cup with that. Doing these podcasts, you know, and it's, listen, it's easy to sit there and say, hey guys, you know what, like, can we do it next week? Can we, you know, do this, you know, can we put it off? Because, you know, we're all so busy, but we're committed to this friendship and moving this project. So, you know, just being committed to things that are fun. You know, this every Sunday night, you know, my cup is filled up with sisterhood. So, you know, putting those things that, you know, charge your battery, fill your cup. You know, and they don't cost anything. I mean, this might cost me, you know, some mugs, because I'm going to be shipping out free mugs to people who like and subscribe, and we're going to be doing
We'll help
that.
you with that. We'll help
Yeah.
you with that too.
But, you know, this, just filling your cup, right? Like, that costs nothing, right? And I always feel like the good things and the things that, like, well, maybe a nice spa that has a price to it, but, you know,
Always worth it.
yeah, but the things that really fill my soul are the things that don't cost anything, right? It's a phone call, it's well, maybe a dinner, you know, with friends, but it doesn't
Time
cost
spent.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, and you're right. It's those things that usually touch the most.
yeah.
Mm.
And that goes with, like, union. You know, I have, you know, great friends since I'm 5, but you know what? Like, I have a lot of good IBEW people who fill my soul, right? So maybe, you know, part of that work-life balance is hanging out with the people you like and doing union activity and being intentional about the things that you schedule. You know, like, we do conferences, right? And you know, we get to see each other at conferences and stuff like that. So maybe just be intentional about, you know, your service. Multitask.
Multitask. We're good at that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the filling of the soul. It, like, it feels good. I like to visit with people. Like, you know, like this little girl that I'm going to her birthday party, right? She's just a bundle of joy, and she has her Grand Champion chicken that she packs around all the time. And it's just, I mean, to watch this little girl go do your chores, it's like dark here in Montana at 4 o'clock. Go put the chicken away. I mean, I went to visit them. They're having dinner. She has her chicken in a clothes basket beside her at the dinner table. And I'm just thinking to myself, such good parents is they just let this kid live her little happy life. And I always get so full when I visit. Her name is Journey. and she's had quite a journey. You know, she was born premature, but the chicken just cracks me up. It's grand champion. She's a grand champion chicken named Moose. But
That's sweet.
I agree with you on the soul and filling your cup and walking around in the stars last night filled my cup. Last night filled my cup.
You're so crazy. That's just,
I have really come to that conclusion, and that's an absolute yes.
Yeah.
but
You still love me though.
I'm gonna get some deer jerky out of it. So you
Yep.
do your crazy. I'll be supportive.
Yeah, I'm supporting it.
And that's what friends do. We support our, everybody else is crazy, right? Like,
Your crazy matches my crazy.
yeah. And Stacy's crazy.
That's all of it.
So I'd like to take a moment of silence for Amber Chez, who was 20 years old, a welder, who some maniac just took a hammer to her at work. So we're gonna have a moment of silence. It's just insane that it's fucking 2025 and this stuff still happens. And the sheer fuck you attitude that he had was like, I didn't like her. And she's over
Yeah.
there.
Like that has any justification, and and starting her career in a male-dominated field and like going out there putting her best foot forward, and she literally had to watch her back, and to end a life in such a egregious way, it's sickening.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And there's an uptick. Like let's be real. Like one of the reasons, like when we were having this podcast, I said, you know what, like I don't want, we don't speak on behalf of the IBEW or any local union, and like this podcast is autonomous, and it's just, us is so that we can be real, and like, it's fucking 2025, and there's an uptick, like in
Yeah.
harassment at work.
I don't. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
do get
just-
it. You do get it
I
because
can
it's-
rant and rave on this, to tell you the truth. Yeah, by a long ways. It's insane. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to stomach right now because I think about this young girl at 20, and it really makes me sad and upset. Right? She had her whole life ahead of her because somebody is just raging. And I think, like, let's just take us, IBEW, the company that Stacy and I work at. We actually talk. I can't imagine something happening like this at our workplace. There's just no way, because we talk about mental health. Our company talks about, they're in partnerships with us, the mental health. We have rules in place. People have to have places to go when they're not, like she could have talked to somebody if she was afraid for her life at work. And it just, I don't know, it just angers me. I'm really angry at that guy, that the way that she died was very uncalled for. It's crazy.
I just want to take a pipe bender to his fucking head and say, how does that feel?
Okay, you know what? That's how I felt. I was just making sure that I wasn't the only one, because this girl is one girl that I want to say it, but I won't say it on a podcast, is he wouldn't tangle with me like that.
Yeah. It's just, it's insane, and it hurts because I think on some level, we all know that like that could be us.
Yeah. And just even to add to that is like, men, women, anybody having to go into work and deal with that sort of thing, completely uncalled for. Now, it's probably more prevalent on the women's side of things to deal with that sort of harassment in some cases, but this is just this made me sick when I read the article right prior to you sending it out to us, Aaron, and I was like, I can't believe this. This is absolutely crazy. Small town right outside of Minneapolis. I lived there I actually worked at a coal plant there for a while, and I was like, is that what this world is coming to? Because when I lived there, it was the Midwest, the friendly Midwest, right? But
You're supposed to have a safe work environment. You probably go back in the
at a bare
history
minimum.
at a bare minimum. Absolutely. You probably go back in this guy's history and there's got to be something
Yeah.
crazy stupid there.
Yeah, like, people thought he was joking around or whatever. But, listen, I'm fortunate that I don't think that would ever happen to me because, like you said, like my contractor, my local union doesn't put up with that shit. But it could, because like, listen, first and foremost, I'm assuming the guy's mentally ill because normal people just don't do shit like that. But that being said, there's a lot of people who are out there harassing women who don't have mental illness, right?
Yeah.
And there's an uptick on the job. I talk to the carpenters, and they're like, the last 6 or 7 months, it's just gotten worse, and
There needs to be procedures and controls in place for that shit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's got to be a thing of too, like you see something, you say something, right?
yeah,
Even if maybe it's nothing, and there had to have been signs, I would think pre it getting to the point it did, and somebody had to have seen something. So a good reminder, I think, for just even myself, like if I see some sort of activity that's off like that, it's like figure out what's going on.
yeah.
Don't ignore it.
You have to have a safe place to report it also, right? A safe place that you can report it and not be the talk of the shop.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing too, is like in construction, it's like, all right, you report it, and then it's like, you don't want to be that girl, right?
Right.
And how it always gets resolved is, you get transferred, right? I
Right.
mean, he might get laid off, but you get transferred. Like your life becomes disrupted as a result of somebody else's behavior. So a lot of times, we've kind of go, all right, I'll let this slide and I'll let this
Exactly.
slide and I'll let this slide. And in the hopes that we have a brother who's an upstander rather than a bystander, right? Because, I know when I was an apprentice, I was afraid to speak up,
Mhm.
Now, I'm old and I don't really give a shit. I'll speak up, but it's not
Right.
easy, when you're young and starting off like this young woman was. She probably didn't want to be labeled that girl, or she probably
No.
didn't want to be laid off, or she probably didn't want to be moved, or, all the other bullshit that we deal with in our heads, that keeps us in these spots that, are just sometimes not safe. My heart goes out to her and her family, and may she
Yeah.
rest in power, and may he
Rotten hell.
rot in hell, because it's just a horrible, sad day for women in non-traditional.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Companies need to start paying a little bit more attention to that. They really do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's good responses to a situation like that instead of, her being that girl. There's
yeah,
Yeah.
better responses to that. I mean, management probably should take a little bit, and say, hey, we've been noticing a little bit of hate and dissension over here. We don't put up with that in this shop. You
yeah,
know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And a wake up call
yeah,
for all companies, right? Don't let it get to this point,
No.
right?
yeah.
Communication and culture about it.
And it all
This
starts at the
country,
top.
It does.
like I'd
Absolutely.
be interested in, hearing the philosophy of that company, I just don't believe that this guy said he's been planning it for a while. I don't think he just woke up one day and just decided to do this quietly after, not liking her for months. I'm sure, she put up with shit.
Mm.
So anyway, I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up and, to,
This one's got to set with me a little bit. It still angers me inside pretty bad.
yeah. And you know what? Hopefully it angers everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't just anger the women. Hopefully it angers the brothers.
I'll tell you what, our brother Stacy and I's out where we work. They've got our back
We've
on
got
any.
a, yeah, we've got a
Nothing would
good
ever
setup.
happen like that ever.
Yeah. I'm 1,000% sure that that wouldn't happen on my job either, because I am surrounded by good brothers, work for a good contractor and a good local union, but not everybody is
Yeah.
fortunate.
Hmm.
Some
It's
of
just
it's just
sad to know that that not everybody has the same situation and that this can happen because it did. It just seeing it and reading it was so shocking today.
I know
yeah,
it. I'd like to open it up here, Aaron. If girls are having problems like that, and they don't feel like that they can go to their company, they can come to us. Right?
yeah,
We can help those girls, those ladies, and men.
yeah.
Yeah.
We, I mean,
We can certainly
this
give them resources to help them
Yeah.
out, and
Point them in the
absolutely,
right direction. Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely, who to talk to, who to confide in without being labeled.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like I said,
because
this one's gonna set with me for a while. I've got to, it's just, I'm really bubbling inside over this one. So
yeah,
it's got to set with me for a minute. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, any way that we could be of assistance to anybody, we can't fix every problem, and but
we
we
can
could,
find the person that can,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, all right, ladies. Um, till next week.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you all
are
for
you
your
going back
time.
out hunting again there, Dora?
Dora, yes, I am now. I'm elk hunting this week.
Okay.
Okay, that's bigger yet. It's the bigger animal. And
Well, make sure to hit that one a little closer to your car. You,
yeah, there's
yeah.
yeah.
Did you carry that whole goddamn deer back to your thing? 4 miles?
Uh
Most of it.
Most of it. Yeah, and then I got the truck a little bit closer, but yeah, when you're out in the wilderness, there's no roads. You're hiking, like I said. The sun coming, I was hiking with a red headlight on up into the mountains at like 4 a.m. It was a
Yeah,
long
let's
day
be a little
yesterday.
more let's be a more strategic about where you hit this next one.
Yeah, and the time that you hit it, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
Yeah, this was evening time, but I didn't want to hunt for deer any more days, right? Because I want to start my elk hunt. So I was like, I'm I'm getting one today. I'm harvesting a buck today. And
I'm
so
gonna
I'm
nail it
gonna
at 9 o'clock at night so I can walk back to my truck with no one
In the
around.
starry night.
in the starry scary night. Yeah. I was actually wishing that one of you girls were with me.
I would not be. I would not
Yeah,
be
I wish it was
thousand
Aaron.
percent. I would not be.
You guys are going to reap the benefits of my work, I
Well,
guarantee
and
it.
that's very
Okay.
good. That's how I reap the rewards. I go to McDonald's and I pay for my hamburger, or I go to the, pub and I get my nice hamburger. That's how I reward myself. Not go on these safaris at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I didn't get out of there till 10:30 at night and didn't get done till 4 a.m. this morning.
That's insane.
It's fun. Good for the
Yeah.
soul. Filled my
Yeah.
cup.
I don't know what part of the soul that would be, like the dark part, like what Like, what part of the soul is that good with?
Sometimes this morning I was thinking the same thing as I'm sore. I'm like, oh man, I'm a little bit off my rocker.
I would be
You're,
like,
you're providing. That's what it
That's
is.
that's
I
what
would
it
be
is.
shitting my pants. That's what I would be doing. If I was out in the woods by myself, I would just be standing there just shitting. Like, I couldn't. I would be so afraid.
I'm a little afraid to hunt elk by myself, like in the big tree, because there's grizzly bears up here, and I really don't want to get eaten by a grizzly bear. So
Yeah.
I carry a handgun on my chest with, along with my binoculars. Like I said, my pack is like 45 pounds just for the day.
That's another thing. I would not be carrying that much weight. I'm a bougie girl when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah. I could play softball, but not hunt.
I could play softball too.
I could go to
Yeah.
the gun range and shoot. Fine with that.
Mhm.
But something about standing in the woods in the middle of the night with a dead deer.
You
Just,
make it sound awful. I'm providing for my family and my
I
friends.
get that, but you could provide for them in the middle of the day.
Well, it's just not like, hey, Buck, come walk out at 12
Yeah.
p.m. It's
Get up
like
from your nap a little early so I can hit you.
you have to take the opportunities when they're in front of you.
Yeah, but
It's
9
okay.
o'clock at night, there's Bear
Yeah.
who could probably want that deer more than you.
But I was in an area for the deer that there's not grizzly bears. Now, when I go, because Montana, is the big sky country. So we've got prairie and rolling mountains, and we've got wilderness. So I go to the wilderness for the elk. That's where they live. And
Along with the bears.
along with those grizzly bears.
You nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
come
But
back safe.
I'm not going to be sitting in the rocking chair when I'm 90 listening to other people's stories. I'll be telling the stories.
Yeah, that'll be the truth.
And I'll have to wear Depends listening to the stories. I'll be shitting my pants just hearing about it.
Oh, goodness.
yeah.
All right, ladies.
Okay, sweet dreams. It was always good
Yeah.
seeing your
Dreams.
faces.
Don't forget to like and
Thanks.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Get your friends to like and subscribe.
And we're giving away a
Aaron's-
cutting board.
Yeah, Aaron's handing out free loot.
Well, not
Some
money.
swag.
I give some swag.
Some Brew Crew swag.
Yeah.
Some swag.
The Brew Crew. Oh yeah. The Brew Crew. Right here. You got a thought you can't shake. A question you want to break. We got the vibe, we got the heat. Join the Brew Crew. Take a seat.